Hi, my name is TJ. My dad died of overdose on January 1st, 2011, and my mom is a recovering addict. God helped my mom, and now together we are here to help you. Now let's talk recovery. Here's your host, my mom, Susan Sexton-Wood.
Hi, welcome to Let's Talk Recovery. I am your host, Susan Sexton-Wood. Today, our guest is Marissa Ball. She is a recovering addict that has been saved by grace. Hi and welcome, Marissa.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to first just ask Marissa to start by sharing her testimony.
Okay. I'm Marissa, and I'm an addict alcoholic. So I was raised Catholic in a home. I'm the only child, so growing up, I was just the only child, and I was spoiled. So I would say like my childhood was perfect, but I know everybody's is not perfect. I do have pretty awesome parents that have been here for me in my addiction, and my childhood was fun, I would say. I went to daycare. My grandma took care of me. My parents worked. My dad was third shift. Mom was first. So I did spend a lot of time with my grandma, who is no longer with us today. But I know that she would be proud of me today because of where I've come and how far I've came. So my childhood was pretty good. Middle school was the same. Alcohol was my drug of choice, and I didn't realize that it was a problem until about when I was 17 or 18. I would just drink on the weekends with my friends in high school, and it was more social then. I would say that my addiction really went over the hill when, I would say after I had my Tanner in 2008. He's my first son. After I had him, I stayed with his father for 9 years off and on, I'd say. And he was verbally abusive. I didn't realize that until recently. Things have been coming clear to me since I have been sober. And I will say that his dad did help me get through college. After I had Tanner in 2008, I went directly into college at Lincoln College in Florence, Kentucky, and I graduated in 2010 with a degree in medical billing and coding. That's where my medical started at. And then after that, I went back to school in 2011 and graduated in 2013. I went to Beckfield College in Florence, Kentucky, and that's where I got my associate degree in allied health. I got a job with a doctor, Dr. Holstein, and she's no longer in practice today, but I got a job with her in August of 2009, and I was with her on and off throughout my addiction. She was really supportive of me and all that I did, and hired me and fired me and hired me again. So I think that that's pretty neat that she would give me that opportunity to keep coming back because the patients loved me. So alcohol started, and then I would say the first time I ever tried heroin was in 2012 when I got with another guy. Guys seemed to be a problem in my life, and I'll get to that later. So I got with this particular guy, and he told me to try heroin. It was better than Percocet. So I did, and I remember I snorted it, and I remember that I loved the feeling that it gave me. I would drink with it as well, so I would do heroin and drink. I remember it was like the best feeling ever, and I can't even explain the way that it made me feel. But the first time I ever did that, I knew that I was addicted. So I was on heroin for like a year straight, and I would lie to my parents and steal from my parents, but I didn't think that I was an addict then. In 2014, I had my 5-year-old. He'll be 5 next week. His name's Trevor. So there's Tanner and Trevor. And I used when I was pregnant with him, but I stopped doing heroin cold turkey at 26 weeks pregnant with him. When I had him, he didn't test dirty and I didn't test dirty, so I thought that I was good to go. I knew that I had used up until 26 weeks, but there was no issues, so I just went on with my life. His dad isn't in the picture. His dad's never really been in the picture. He's an addict just like us, or just like me. So, 14. I used a couple of times with his dad, but it was nothing really like that. I remember I went to the hospital one night in Covington because I battle with depression as well. So I was depressed, high, and drunk, and I had asked my friend to take Trevor to my mom. And I went to St. E in Covington, Kentucky, and I went to the ER, and I remember that I asked this particular person to take Trevor to my mom. Well, she brought him into the hospital to me and set him on my lap, and that's the first time that my child was taken from me. My mom had temporary custody, my mom and dad had temporary custody of Trevor for a long time, probably about 3 years, almost 4 years, I would say. And after that, like, my life just went downhill. I went to Recovery Works in Georgetown, Kentucky for the first time, July of 2015, so a little bit after I was drinking and doing heroin, because those were my main drugs of choice then. I went downhill. So in 2015, I went to Recovery Works, and I was there for 28 days, got out and thought that I had it. Come to find out I didn't. I was one of those addicts that always said, this is my last time I'm going to be here. I'm not going to be back in a rehab. I know I can do this. But the thing is, I got back out and went around the same people and did the same things. My life really didn't change. I didn't know the Lord then. But today, I do know that I know the Lord. So in September of 2015, I met Eric, who is Levi's father. So Levi is 2. He just turned 2 in October, so I have 3 boys. No more after now. I'm happy with my 3 boys. But I got with Eric, and that's when everything started spiraling way downhill. I thought he was the man, of my dreams. I thought that I had found the one, but come to find out I didn't. And I know today that I don't need a guy at all in my life, that I can do everything independently. As long as I have my sisters in Christ and God, I know that I'm in a better place. When I got with Eric, he was abusive, sexually, mentally, physically, every way possible. And I always thought that that was cool. I guess I liked the way that he treated me, the control. He helped me get my drugs. I mean, I needed him then. I needed him for certain things. And so I just kept being with him because I loved him. And that's not why you should be with somebody, especially if they put their hands on you. So I was with him. I just recently ended the relationship like 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So I am very proud of myself for realizing that I don't need a man like that in my life for me or my children. He was in and out of jail the whole time I was with him, where he is now. He always made me feel like I wasn't worth anything. He always made me feel like I wasn't pretty. He always made me feel like it was always my fault, when really, I mean, no woman should have to be put through that. And I realized that today. I started doing meth with him, and that was my next drug of choice, was meth. I started doing that last year when he got out of jail in July. I caught my first possession charge this year, and I went to Kenton County Detention Center for a night, and told myself I would never go back, and I know that I'm not going to as long as I'm doing the right thing. There's times when Eric would punch me. I know the night I went to jail, I had a busted lip from him, and I still didn't understand why he kept doing this to me and it being okay. I went to Recovery Works this year in April, and once again I was there for 28 days. Thought that I had it hooked when I got out, and I relapsed again. So I have been to 3 detox treatments, or treatment centers, and then when I was pregnant with Levi, I went to UK to be put on Subutex. So when I had him, there was Subutex in his system. And something else actually happened. The reason why Levi is in foster care is because when he was 4 months old, I was drinking, and I dropped him on his head, and he suffered a fractured skull from that incident. And when I was at Crossroad, which I'll get to that, I remember we rode on a rock, and I remember we threw that rock in the pond. And I wrote on that rock, "Please forgive me for doing that to my son." It's something that I still really haven't forgiven myself fully for, but today he is healed, and he is a grown little boy growing. So I do know that God was with me in all those circumstances. Trevor and Levi went to foster care for a little bit. Levi is still in foster care, but I'm working my way to get him out of there and doing everything that I need to do today for that. So after I dropped Levi, I just didn't care anymore. I just did meth more. I drank. I would drink so much that I would black out and not remember anything. And that's a scary feeling to know that you're driving with your children and you don't even remember that. I wouldn't drink for fun. I would drink to black out. So, in May of this year was when I went to jail, May 6th. I got out May 7th. I didn't want to stay sober at all. I got out and drank and did crack for the first time. I remember I went to the hospital for 2 abscesses in 2 months from crack, and I just never thought that I would ever use a needle in my life. But that was my go-to. I would numb the pain with any drug or alcohol possible that I could get a hold of towards the end. I remember I just wanted to die. I didn't think my kids needed me, and that I'd be in a better place if I wasn't on this earth. And now today I do know that there is a God. And I went to Crossroad June 25th of 2018, and I will say that place saved my life. While I was there, I met the best people ever. I know that I'm loved, and I know that there is a God. Wendy and Tom are amazing. I didn't even have to have an interview to come to Crossroad. It was just like a God thing. I know that I didn't really want to go, but an alumni girl told me that it's a great place and it will change your life, and I can tell you that it has. I was there until October of 2018, and now I'm at Reset, and that is in Newport, Kentucky, and that place it's helping me grow in the Lord, and it's helping me realize that there are women out there. I don't need a man in my life to do anything for me, or I don't need to have control over anything. My life's just absolutely amazing. I know I got saved while I was at Crossroad. I got saved on July 19th, 2018 at the Iron Bell concert. That was an awesome night for me. And I felt something that night that I've never experienced before, and it was just amazing. So now I'm at Reset, and I have been there since October 23rd, So I'm going on 3 months there. It is different from Crossroad, but it's still the same structure.
Yeah. And you have a job now?
I do. I work at Kroger. I'm doing the click list. It's an awesome job. It's my own hours, 8 to 4. They're working with me. You know, I go to church twice on Sundays because I was so used to going twice at Crossroad. I go to a little church in Newport, Kentucky. I've been going there for 2 months. And my absolute favorite thing to do is to worship the Lord and get in His Word. I do need to get in the Word more, but I do read my devotionals every morning and night. I pray constantly, and I do see my children now every Friday for an hour, and then I have to start doing weekends for 5 hours, supervised. So the Lord has changed me.
So you have the opportunity to get custody of your kids back?
Yes, I had court last Wednesday, I think it was, and they just pushed it out 6 more months for me to get my life together. My 9 months at Reset will be July. So I can graduate then, if I have to, but I plan to stay the whole 9 months.
That's good. So what are some tools of your recovery that you use?
I would say my Bible for sure. My sisters in Christ. I do call people when I feel like I'm having a bad day, or I have a sponsor today. I have a biblical counselor. I have 13 women plus more in my life. Honestly, I don't speak to men. This is going to sound cliche, but I'm talking to somebody. And he loves the Lord, and he loves his daughter, and I feel like God places people in your life at the right time. So.
But you're learning how to love yourself instead of putting a man in.
The girls always tell me to keep learning about myself more than a man, and like I take that to heart now, and I'm not committing to anybody but the Lord.
So what are some things that you learn at Crossroad that you took with you?
Well, Stacy Steele was one of the first women to help me with a lot of things. She always taught me to, you know, get a box together and put your stuff in there that you think you might need. And I try to do that. I'm always playing with something in my hand, or I'm always chewing on gum. It seems like the devotionals that I read every morning are something that is on my heart, or something that I'm learning to do better, as in love myself. And I can actually look in the mirror today and tell myself, you are beautiful. Stacy also taught me about my self-worth and my self-esteem. That has gotten a whole lot better. I don't down myself today. I know my children love me. The Lord loves me. And every woman that God places in my life has something good to say about me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Counseling, you got counseling at Crossroad too?
Yes.
Do you feel like that helped you?
It did. I actually just stopped to see Michelle a little bit ago at Crossroad. I'm staying the night at Crossroad tonight. I'm so excited about it. So yeah, Michelle helped me a lot, and she was happy to hear that I'm done with Eric. I finally realized that I don't need him, and that if 3 years hasn't changed with us, the next 3 will not either.
How do you feel like you come to that point?
I feel like I surrendered.
Yeah. So do you go to meetings?
I do.
Do you do any meetings?
We do one a week. I should probably do more, but I would rather go to church than go to a meeting.
Right. Well, that can be considered a meeting, though.
Yeah.
Do you work full time?
I do work full time. I'm working on my step work with my sponsor. I'll have 7 months clean next Friday, so it's just absolutely amazing to get those coins and realize that means something in your life.
Well, you got a lot going on with visits and even one meeting and church and a full-time job, and
Yes.
that's a lot going on.
My 10-year-old, he can stay at the house once a week, and he's gotten so close with me, and he's so happy to know that I'm sober and he has his mommy back.
Well, you have 3 boys, so won't you share with us some of the things about your kids?
Okay. Tanner
their individuality.
Yeah, he's like me. He's funny. He has a good sense of humor. He is quiet. He's shy, kind of like me, but I would say he's more like me than any of my other children. I've gotten so much closer with him. Trevor is my wild man. He is hyper. He's actually with his aunt now. He's out of foster care and with his aunt. So I do talk to him twice a week when I can. I'm very busy, but I do know that my children need to come before some other things in my life. I do make that attempt to call him whenever I can. And then Levi, he is a very intelligent little boy. He says meow, and he loves dogs. He loves trucks. Tanner loves Xbox and Fortnite, and Trevor loves anything Paw Patrol. Levi just loves garbage trucks and trucks.
So what's some of your goals for the future?
A lot of my goals have been coming true. I would like to go back to school for nursing. That's in my future. I would like to get, my plan is to get my kids back, hopefully in the next year. I want to get a house. That's what I need to do to get my children back. Maintain sobriety and just stay close to the Lord. I know that that's very important. I stress that a lot because the Lord has helped me a long way, and He just continues to bless me every day.
There's a lot of things that we have to work on when it comes to our sobriety. I know what things that we work with people on when it comes to recovery coaching is accountability, acceptance, structure. Have you worked on a lot of acceptance?
I have. I've accepted a lot of things in my life. Accountability is a big word, but I have a lot of accountability partners that I know I could go to anytime, anywhere, and they would be right there to help me along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call my sponsor today, or text her at least every day, and let her know I'm doing good and make sure she's being the same.
Yeah. And you said that you have a lot of support. Share with us, like, your support. What's your support network look like?
Well, I have my parents. They're probably my biggest supporters. I know I asked my dad what he wanted for Christmas, and he just said nothing. I'm just so glad that you're sober, and that's the best Christmas present I can get. And that's awesome to me, to be able to put my parents through so much, and then they still love me the same in the end, and they know they're so proud of me. There's about 12 women at the house right now, and they always call me out if I'm ever doing anything. You know, they call me out, but I like that part about them because I know that they'll be honest with me. I'm probably the most honest person that you'll meet, and that's one trait that I do have. I also have a sense of humor, so that's always awesome too. I know that Wendy's a really good accountability partner, and you are too, Susan. There's just a lot of girls that I have in my life today that are my biggest supporters, and I realize that today. Like, I can see a lot clearer now, a lot clearer.
And you have support in Indiana and Kentucky now.
Right. Both at Crossroad and at Reset, I have a lot of supporters.
Yeah. And you talked about your mom and dad and being an only child. Won't you, because you used to talk a lot about them with me, won't you share some things that, because you guys have been through a lot when it comes to your addiction, share some things about your parents.
That they helped me with?
That they helped you through with your addiction, and not just the bad things that they helped you through, but maybe some of the good times.
Okay. Well, mom and dad were just trying to get Levi out of custody care or state care. So they're 63 and 64 years old, and we're still trying to get my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old really.
They're trying to take custody right now?
Yeah, but because of the incident with Levi, they weren't supervising me at the time, so that's why they're not able to take my kids. So it's kind of a weird situation, but I do know that, I mean, my parents always drove down to Crossroad every weekend to see me, and that's a 2-hour drive every weekend. I also have my godparents who have been here for me a lot lately. They came to see me at Crossroad as well. My mom picks me up for work every morning and drops me off. It's right by the house and her house. So I'm just grateful for my parents. They always I can't say that they understood addiction, but my mom was in the Vivitrol group online. I was on Vivitrol for a little bit too, and I just recently got off that.
Okay.
And I feel great about that. So she tried to reach out to a lady at her work, and she does have support there. So
Good.
my parents have really done a lot to support me.
If somebody's watching the program tonight and that they may be struggling, like you said, you've been in 3 detox facilities and now you've been in 2 inpatient facilities. What could you say to them to help them choose recovery, to find God and to change their life?
Well, when I went to Crossroad, I didn't really even want to stay the whole time because it was 4 months, and I was like, I can't do that. I can't hardly do 30 days. But as I was getting closer to the end there, I was told about Reset, and there was a 5-month wait, and I bumped to the top real quick, and I didn't care how long it was. So that's when you know that you're done and you're ready to turn your life over. I would say, I don't talk to any old friends at all. I have a whole new network. I stay in the Word. I pray often, and I just know that I love the Lord, and I just think some days, like, how am I so lucky? I'm so lucky to be blessed with the people that are in my life, and that's why I just post things on Facebook, and it's all about God or my children, my family, because that's just all I'm involved with now.
Is it that neat that you didn't want to stay the 30 days,
Yeah.
but you ended up staying 4 months, and now you're 3 months into another program, and you're gonna stay the whole time?
The only requirement to get my kids back was to go to 1 inpatient, and I'm in my 2nd. So that should show my achievements and what I want to do with my life and with my children by going to a 9-month program.
Yeah,
And like I wouldn't want it any other way right now.
yeah. Well, you're doing good, and I've got to see the result of your growth. I mean, I've seen you from the beginning of that first inpatient facility, and I follow you on Facebook, and you've taken the time to come from Kentucky now back to Indiana to not only be on the show, but take the time to visit some that first inpatient facility that you're excited about. And so we want to thank you for taking the time and coming to share your testimony and to share hope with other people. If you are someone that may be struggling with addiction, we want to encourage you to call the number on the screen. We're here to help motivate and educate and connect you to some resources around your area. We want to just let you know that God is here also for you. You can change your life. You don't have to live in the dark world of addiction. You are able to change your life and to become a better you. We want to thank you for joining us on the Let's Talk Recovery show.